latter part of the 20th century saw an unprecedented surge in executive pay. CEO salaries skyrocketed, driven by stock options. Proponents argued stock options aligned executive and shareholder interests. Critics, however, saw perverse incentives and short-term focus. The 2008 financial crisis highlighted these issues, sparking demands for regulation. The excesses of the late 20th century prompted calls for government intervention to curb runaway executive pay. In the UK, influential reports laid the groundwork for corporate governance reforms. The Cadbury Report emphasized independent, non-executive directors. It recommended remuneration committees to oversee executive pay. The Greenberry Report advocated for transparency and performance-related pay. These reports influenced corporate governance practices in the UK and beyond. The 2024 UK Corporate Governance Code introduces significant changes, aimed at addressing ongoing concerns about executive pay, strengthening malus and clawback provisions. Malus and clawback clauses allow companies to reduce, reclaim, or cancel bonuses. As a seasoned non-executive put it, perhaps the Remco should be made up of the most miserable bastards on the board. It will always be a tug of war. You don't get popular making tough decisions, but that is what you are there for. Committees must consider ESG factors, reflecting sustainability. The code mandates greater transparency in executive pay decisions. Elon Musk's compensation package at Tesla has been a subject of intense scrutiny and debate. In 2018, Tesla's board approved a performance-based plan for Musk, tying his pay to ambitious milestones. The plan could net Musk billions if all targets are met. Proponents argue it aligns Musk's interests with shareholders. Critics say it's excessive and disconnects pay from economic realities. They point to Tesla's stock price, driven by factors outside Musk's control. Global competition and the talent arms race. One of the biggest challenges in regulating executive pay is the global nature of talent competition, said a leading economist. Large multinational corporations operate in a borderless world, seeking out the best executives regardless of their nationality or location. This global talent pool creates an upward pressure on executive pay as companies compete to attract and retain top executives, noted a senior HR consultant. A CEO who can deliver exceptional results is a valuable asset, and companies are often willing to pay a premium to secure their services. This dynamic makes it difficult for any single country to unilaterally impose strict limits on executive compensation, explained a policy analyst. If a country's regulations become too onerous, companies may choose to relocate their headquarters or key executives to jurisdictions with more favorable tax and regulatory environments. This could result in a race to the bottom as countries compete to attract businesses by offering lax regulations, including those related to executive pay, warned a financial advisor. Finding the right balance between attracting talent and ensuring responsible compensation practices remains a significant challenge for policymakers worldwide. Information asymmetry, the black box of executive pay. Another significant obstacle to effective regulation is the lack of transparency surrounding executive compensation. The details of executive pay packages are often complex and opaque, making it difficult for shareholders and the public to fully understand how these packages are structured and justified. This information asymmetry creates an uneven playing field, with boards and compensation committees holding a significant advantage over other stakeholders. Furthermore, the criteria used to determine executive pay are not always clearly defined or consistently applied across different companies. While performance-based pay is the norm, the specific metrics used to assess performance can vary widely, often leaving room for subjective interpretation and potential bias. This lack of transparency and standardization makes it challenging to assess the fairness and reasonableness of executive pay packages and to hold companies accountable for their decisions, ultimately affecting trust in corporate governance. Shareholder activism, a growing force for change. Shareholder activism is driving accountability in executive compensation. Institutional investors challenge excessive pay and demand transparency. Resolutions on executive pay spotlight issues and pressure companies. Proxy advisory firms strengthen shareholders' influence. They provide independent assessments of company policies. Activism pushes for responsible and transparent compensation practices. The future of executive compensation striking a balance. The debate over executive pay is unlikely to be resolved anytime soon, given its complexity. However, there is a growing consensus that the current status quo is unsustainable. The widening gap between CEO pay and worker pay has fueled income inequality and eroded public trust in corporations. Finding the right balance between attracting and retaining top talent while ensuring fairness and alignment with stakeholder interests is crucial. Future regulations are likely to focus on greater transparency, stronger performance-based pay structures, and a broader definition of performance that encompasses ESG factors. Companies will need to be more responsive to shareholder concerns and demonstrate a clear link between executive pay and long-term value creation. The era of unchecked executive compensation is over, and a new era of accountability is dawning, bringing hope for a fairer future. Aligning incentives, linking pay to performance and purpose. Aligning incentives with long-term value creation and stakeholder interests. Move away from short-term stock price gains. Incorporate ESG metrics into compensation plans. Link pay to sustainability, social impact, and governance. Reward genuine value creation, not financial engineering. Use long-term incentive plans for sustainable growth. Foster responsible leadership and stakeholder value. The societal impact of executive pay. The issue of executive pay extends beyond the corporate boardroom. It is ultimately a matter of fairness and social justice. When CEOs earn hundreds of times more than their employees, it exacerbates income inequality and undermines social cohesion. The perception that executives are reaping disproportionate rewards while workers struggle to make ends meet fuels resentment and erodes trust in institutions. Companies have a responsibility to consider the societal impact of their compensation practices. While attracting top talent is important, it should not come at the expense of fair treatment for all employees. By promoting responsible compensation practices, companies can contribute to a more just and equitable society.